LGBTQ community. You may hear this phrase be used in the news. You may know what most of the letters mean, such as the L means lesbian, the G means gay, the B means bisexual, and the T means trans. But you may not know what the Q stands for. The Q stands for queer. And I was 10 years old when I started to realize I was a part of the Q. I was 10 years old when I started to hide down my feelings about this because I didn't think they were right. I was 12 years old when I stopped trying to hide these feelings. I was 12 years old when I started looking up different sexualities online to see if any of them felt right. I was 13 when I thought I was a pansexual, meaning someone who feels attraction to all people regardless of their gender, also known as being gender blind. I was 14 when now I started questioning not only my sexuality, but now my gender identity. I was 14 when I started hiding my long hair under hats because I didn't want to look so much like a girl. I was 15 when I was confident enough to say that I am queer. I was 15 years old when I was confident enough to say that I may not always be a girl, but I'll kiss a girl, with consent of course. And I was 15 years old when I started to realize that ever since I was 10, I had looked to cartoons for support so that I didn't feel so alone in my identity. As children, we learn a lot from the media we consume. While we learn basic things like counting and colors, we also learn what seems to be wrong or not normal. As a kid, I had never seen characters like me on screens or books I read, so I started to think that something wasn't normal about me. Because if these feelings I felt were so normal, then wouldn't I have seen someone else like me? While researching, I found other people who felt this way. While talking to others, I saw that other people also felt not seen, that they felt something was wrong with them because they hadn't ever seen someone like them before. This is one of the main two reasons for why representation is so important. Number one is that it helps someone feel seen. And the second reason is that it can help teach kids that others may be different from them, and that's okay. So now let's move on to cartoons. The first cartoon we're talking about is one where a kid and his friends have adventures around a creek they live by. It's Craig of the Creek. Now, the great thing about Craig of the Creek is they have a wide range of diversity. They have many different ethnicities shown, queer characters, neurodivergent characters, disabled characters. They show these in a non-stereotypical way, and they show that at the end of the day is that it doesn't matter that these factors don't matter, because you can still have fun and play. Another great thing that they do is that they show that that one factor does not define you. That one factor is just a part of you. It is not the entire picture. For the next cartoon, we're talking about gem aliens that have sworn to protect Earth with Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven. It's Steven Universe. Steven Universe is a popular example of queer representation, and rightfully so. The first character I'm talking about is Garnet. Now, to give some context, these gem aliens are able to fuse with each other, such as you can take one little, ruby or a pearl, and bam, to get one big gem. Garnet is, spoilers, one of these fusions composed of ruby and sapphire. Essentially, she's two lesbians in a trench coat. The great thing about Garnet, though, is the first same-sex proposal and marriage on a kids' show. And while watching these episodes, it's so incredible to see this representation be on screen. And when you go more into what people gave to make sure that this could be seen on screen, it just makes it even better. The second character we're talking about is Stefani, who, once again, is also a fusion made out of Steven and Connie. For context, Steven is half gem and half human, so he can fuse with both gems and humans. Now, all the gems and fusions in this show are shown to go by she, her pronouns, except for Stefani, who goes by they, them. You can tell then that this was a decision made with purpose, to show people that how others may choose to go by different pronouns. Some go by he, some go by she, and others go by they. The next show we're talking about is one where a human has found a world full of powerful witches and epic monsters. It's the Owl House! Everyone in the world grows up in different family structures. Some grow up with both their parents. Some grow up with one. Some grow up in households full of love, and others grow up in more toxic ones. The Owl House does a good job showing these different family structures. such as characters like Luz, living with her mom after her father passed away, or characters like Amity, who was raised by both her parents, but in an overall more toxic environment. Along with showing these different family and housing structures, the Owl House also shows the effects that it can have on a person. Another great thing the Owl House does a great job of is having queer representation, having the main character Luz be in a relationship with Amity, or having Disney's first non-binary character, Rain. It's wonderful to see. And for the final cartoon, we're going to a theme park where two teenagers in a talking pug team up to fight against demons. It's Dead End Paranormal Park. The first character I'd like to talk about from the show is Barney, who can be a representation of a trans teen who has ran away from home. The definition of the word trans means someone whose gender identity does not correspond with the gender they were given at birth. One of the main conflicts in the first season is how Barney being trans affects his relationship with his parents. His parents accept him, they aren't overly supportive of him, such as when his grandmother starts saying hurtful things to him at a family dinner. They don't do anything to stop it. As the season goes on, Barney's parents learn they need to go above just accepting him and actually support him. It's like he says when they ask him to come home. You have to make it one first. The second character I would like to talk about is Norma, who is both autistic and bisexual. Norma's autism is shown respectfully and non-stereotypically, and she is not autistic coded, meaning a character who is hinted at being autistic but never actually confirmed. Norma's autism is confirmed, so woo! And the second thing about Norma is that she is bisexual, meaning a person who feels an attraction to more than one gender. The main part of Norma I want to focus on is her coming out scene. When coming out, she says that it feels like a cork that's plugging up the rest of her life, like time has stopped until she's able to say she's bi out loud. Referencing what I said at the beginning, cartoons can help someone feel seen. And for me, this was a part that I felt really seen. Because while watching it, Norma was saying all the things that little 10-year-old me had said. And I know I'm not alone in these feelings. While doing my research, I found countless stories from people saying how they felt seen and represented. Whether it was people saying that they love seeing characters with the same ethnicity as them in Craig of the Creek, or people saying they love seeing Stefani go by they/them pronouns in Steven Universe, or people saying that they love seeing family structures like theirs in the Owl House, or people saying that they felt seen when watching Barney in Dead End Paranormal Park. From looking at this, we know that representation is important in cartoons. Now, what do I want you to take away? Well, the first thing is that everyone, in one way or another, is a storyteller. And as storytellers, it's our job to tell stories that bring ourselves and others joy. And I think adding in representation needs to become a bigger part of our jobs as well, by including it in the stories that we tell, and by making sure it's non-stereotypical. The other thing is I'd like you to watch cartoons, whether it's cartoons that I listed here today or others that spark your interest. Now, you don't have to watch these cartoons alone. If you have children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, whatever, watching cartoons can be a great way to spend time with each other. And while you're watching the cartoon, you'll know just how important the representation they're seeing on screen truly is. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get storytelling!